Calvin DeHaan under 19 minutes. And Brandon Manning just under 18. So they played consistent amount of time in the bottom pairings for their team. So maybe, if I had to pick a guy other than Mike Green, who's probably going to cost a lot, or Ian Cole, who would be my normal pick, I think I would go with those three guys. I know you asked for one.
You wouldn't go with Clayton Stoner? Oh, look at Gordon Bombay chimed in right when I said it. Yeah, you wouldn't go with Clayton Stoner? He's a UFA.
I don't know. I've seen him put a couple things. He seems to be enjoying himself right now on Instagram. So I don't think he's wanting to come back to the NHL anytime soon.
Let me throw one out there that's not really been talked about. I think he's not been utilized correctly. Is Cody Franson.
Yeah.
What do you think about him?
There was a lot of talk, I think, when he went on waivers, where there was some people that were looking for him to come to Anaheim. And I don't think he ended up getting picked up by anybody. Had some very good underlining numbers, but there's still some issues, I think, with the eye test that a lot of people have with Cody Franson. And, he had some good underlying numbers, like I said, with Chicago. But again, he keeps getting waived. He's a guy that keeps, for some reason, getting dropped from teams, yet his numbers look like he should be a guy that people are looking to pick up, and then nobody picks him up. There's something there that we're not seeing, and that a lot of teams are seeing. So that's my worry with him, because if he was so good, and if everybody else, a lot of people in the analytics community think that he'd be a great pickup, but for some reason he's not, there has to be something there that we're missing. And there's a reason of why teams aren't taking a flyer on him. That's what I'd be worried about with Cody Franson, because I don't know what that is, but there's obviously something there, because he can't seem to find a consistent home on a blue line in the National Hockey League.
So let's move on to the forward group then. Who could we add as a forward coming in? We know the guys that are going to get paid. You're looking at James Neal's going to get paid. You could kind of throw him off. You could look at Evander Kane. He's going to get paid, obviously, for what he's done in the regular season with 54 points, plus his postseason against Anaheim. He's not going to come. Looking at John Tavares, obviously not happening. So who is? I mean, I don't want Rick Nash, 33. You just see what he's not doing for Boston in the playoffs right now. If you've been watching, he's been getting chances, not burying them. You look at a guy like, I know we always say JVR. I mean, he's going to get paid too, though. 36 goals last season. Where can the Ducks look for offense? And you're going to have to look at somebody fleet of foot with this new system that Bob Murray is apparently going to throw up all over Randy Carlyle. Who is the target for Anaheim?
Now, I put out a tweet at the time when Murray said he was looking for speed, and I was just joking, but I honestly think it could be the way he goes if he thinks that adding faster players are going to make this team a faster team. The one was Michael Grabner is probably the fastest guy available. I personally was a guy that could be for him at the trade deadline. Now, as a long-term acquisition, I don't think so. I feel like he maybe could have made the Ducks better at the deadline. I think, of course, he's a better pickup than Jason Chimera and Chris Kelly as the guys who the Ducks picked up at the deadline. But long term, he's not going to sign a 1-year deal. You would think that at 30, he'd be looking for at least a 2, 3, 4-year deal. It's not wise, I think, for the Ducks to do that. And then the other guy is Yannick Hansen, who is UFA with the San Jose Sharks. If you're looking to add speed, those are your two guys. I don't think they make this team faster. I don't think they're wise pickups for the Ducks, but just based off Murray's comments, I could see him going that way, similar to when he picked up Carl Hagelin to add speed to this lineup. And I think it would have the same result where it wouldn't work out as you'd expect it to. And maybe the guy that I would look to, and you had brought him up at the trade deadline, was Thomas Vanek. And he had a good season overall. He looked pretty good with Columbus. He's fit in on their power play. He's a guy that could fit in on this team. But again, if you're trying to move and be a faster team, he doesn't really help that. He's not a fast guy. He's a guy that sets up in his spot and tries to pick top corner. He's a guy that likes to shoot the puck, and he doesn't like to move a lot, and he's not that fleet of foot. So I don't know. Honestly, I feel like without these comments, maybe we could look at it and say, yeah, we know what direction he's going to go in. These are guys he could target. But with him, it's kind of vague in him saying he wants to add speed to this lineup, but maybe that doesn't mean adding faster players, but maybe it does. I really don't know which direction he could go. I just don't think – the only thing I can really say with certainty is that they don't go after the big names like John Tavares, David Perron, Evander Kane, James Van Riemsdyk. I just don't think the Ducks have the salary space to make that work.
I love the comments, by the way.
took.
Yeah, I just
Drew,
checked in on it. I see
Patty
that names
Maroon,
like
Joffrey Lupul,
yeah.
Iginla, Doan, Yager. Good Lord.
Yager said he wasn't done, so
He's
he's playing in the Czech league right now, but maybe he's
and he got destroyed on a dirty hit. I hope he's okay. I mean, I'm sure I know he's okay,
year.
but I mean, I hope it doesn't affect his head.
There were people who wanted Yager in Anaheim this year, by the way.
I was one of them.
You want? I'm not kidding. No, we're gonna get down a rabbit hole.
I was definitely on the Yager bandwagon.
I'm not bringing it up. I
Power play guy.
Yeah, because it worked out so well in Calgary.
Oh, come on, Calgary was has all kinds of other problems there. They fired Golosin and brought in Bill Peters. Anyway, that's an NHL topic. If I could pick anybody, I know I said it last show and it's cheating, but I would say David Perron. But he's going to get paid 66 points, 50 assists in 70 games, almost a point per play or a point per game guy, and only making 3.75 in Vegas.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, he's probably going to bring in. Jesus, you're right. He's going to bring in Grabner.
Probably go back to. I mean, Perron could probably go back to Vegas. I mean, and unless Vegas wants to make a run at Erik Karlsson, I mean, they could probably still afford David Perron and make a run at Erik Karlsson if James Neal's money comes off the books, right? So I could see him going back to there, especially if they want to make a run at it again next year, which you would assume they want to. So that's where I think he goes. And I just see a lot of these big names. Like I would assume Evander Kane re-signs with the Sharks. You would assume Paul Stastny would like to re-sign with the Winnipeg Jets, obviously at less than the $7.5 million he makes now. But and John Tavares, the Ducks, I don't think they have a shot at him. It'd be more of a team like maybe going back to the Islanders or the Blues or the Sharks that we talked about before. So the Ducks don't have a shot at these big names, and unfortunately that leaves guys like you said, Michael Grabner, Jannik Hansen, as targets for Bob Murray if he's looking to make this team quicker, which it doesn't. Adding a fast player doesn't make a team quicker per se. So I feel like that's the unfortunate route we can expect.
So much uncertainty for us to be, talk about here because we don't know exactly what kind of system is going to be employed on the team. So it'll be really interesting to see what draft day holds for the Ducks. I want to throw this the next part of the show before we wrap over to the chat. Do you guys have any questions for us right now that you want us to answer? Do you have anything that you guys want to ask us about just in terms of our content going forward or something about the Ducks to get our opinion on? Anybody who's live would like to hear this. I know this doesn't really help anybody who's listening to this the day after, but
yeah.
You're gonna pop
when we're waiting, because we did have a question from Chase earlier that we didn't get to when we were talking about the defense. He asked, do we think Jakob Larsson will be a bottom pairing guy next year? Will he be in a seventh defenseman role?
He's definitely going to get the shot. He's definitely going to get that shot because obviously Welinski and Pettersson didn't look great together. Now there's no Boschman and there's no Bieksa. So as it stands right now, he's going to get a shot at that for sure.
Yeah.
Whether or not he's going to make it, I think they're going to stay with Pettersson up there unless Larsson really, really, really impresses just because Pettersson lasted, quite a few games and played in the playoffs. So he's the guy they've trusted before everybody else, it seems like.
Yeah, but like the thing is, like, does he get a shot though? Because I think we expected him to get a shot this year and he didn't. And obviously the call up at the end of the year is just an end of the year call up, but we were all kind of hopeful he'd get in for Game 4 and didn't. And the small sample size we got from him 2 seasons ago, he looked good. We felt like he probably could have fit on this team at the time. Ended up going back to Sweden. He's looked okay with the goals this year, but they just seem reluctant to call him up, and maybe it's just trying to be patient with a guy they think is going to be a gem for them on the blue line. Or maybe there are some issues there. I don't know. I feel like out of training camp we'll get a better idea of how they feel out of him. If they send him right back to San Diego right off the bat, no matter how good or bad his training camp is, that's not a good look. But I feel like he's a guy that they need to take a hard look at the beginning of the year and at least play in the first couple of games. Depending on who they get, of course. If they get some veteran guys or some guys who are consistently in a top 6 defensive role, then I understand maybe not having him be on the team to start the season. I don't think at any point is he ever going to be a 7th guy. There's no point in having him on the lineup and not playing. I feel like he's either in San Diego or he's in the lineup for the Ducks.
Yeah, and Pettersson played 22 games for the Ducks this season, so that's big numbers for a kid. And he was on the plus side of things. I know that we said that plus minus isn't the greatest stat, but that's always a good sign considering who he was played with. 1 goal, 3 assists. Not bad. He had more goals than Kevin Bieksa. Just throwing that out there. Just trying to take a little dig, I know, but it's the facts. Yeah, man, that's all I've got on this season cap. I feel like the Ducks have a lot to look forward to when it comes to changes, when it comes to making decisions. It's going to be great to see what Randy Carlyle is going to be employing on this team, because they really need to figure it out quick, because this team's not the fastest team, and the system's definitely broken. So I'm looking forward to see what Randy Carlyle has in store for our Ducks.
Yeah, it's like cautious optimism for next season in a way. I mean, we're all, I guess, kind of disappointed that Randy Carlyle is going to be back next season, but we kind of just have to go with it. I mean, you and me for sure expected him to be back. There's a lot of people I think that were really, really surprised, but again, I was always going off Murray's comments from the deadline that he wrote in The Athletic. I felt like those really spoke to what he felt this team could do next year, and he felt like the injuries were just pretty much a cop-out for this entire season. And really, Randy Carlyle was getting a get-out-of-jail-free card and was blaming everything essentially on the injuries, no matter what happened when all the players are back healthy, no matter what happened in the playoffs. So that's how I'm looking for it. That's what I'm looking at going into next season. Is, I'm cautiously optimistic. I feel like getting Patrick East back is going to help. It's not going to make this team all of a sudden a contender, but having him back, having Cam Fowler back healthy, hopefully having a rehabbed Ryan Kessler, at least starting the season with everybody completely healthy, maybe having a reworked third pairing on defense, and then getting a complete Vezina season from John Gibson is going to bode well for the Ducks. I don't think they're going to be favorites next year, but I think with all those things going right for them, they could definitely make the playoffs. Yeah,
we should expect a similar season, maybe improved upon if they get a faster system that we've been talking about. So I'm kind of with you in the same boat. Drew ends up bringing up a question, a couple of them for us in chats. We appreciate that, Drew. What do you guys have planned for the summer, non-hockey wise? I know that you are busy, Eddie, but for me, right now I'm in between jobs, so I'm looking for a job right now. So I'm going to be doing that. Also, looks like I'm going to be hitting a road trip from Colorado back to California, which is going to be fun. I'm meeting my wife out there. She travels for work a lot. So flying out there, meeting her, and driving back for a week in July. That's my big plans. And then, of course, my daughter plays ice hockey, travel hockey. So her season's starting back up pretty soon. So that is just going to fill my summer with clinics and practicing, which I love. So hockey-filled summer for me, even away from the rink. Yeah, even away from the TV with the NHL, rather.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a hockey-filled summer for me because, of course, we'll be trying to get content on this show. We'll get into that a little bit more in a bit, but we're going to be trying to put content on here. I'll be doing stuff on Ducks and Pucks, and I'll be with an internship with the Niagara Ice Dogs over the summer, so it'll be complete hockey because I'll be working most of my time there in St. Catharines, or in Niagara, essentially, with them, which would be very interesting if the guy we talked about earlier, Nikhil Thomas, ends up getting drafted by the Ducks, because he is a player for the Niagara Ice Dogs who's projected to go not only in the first round, but right around the position where the Ducks will be drafting. And so that could get very interesting for me, because I'll be writing up a lot of profiles on him for the draft, and it would just be icing on the cake if I could talk about him being drafted by the Ducks. So it'll be an interesting summer for both of us, I think, but hopefully we can get a lot of content out for this show as well.
Yeah, and I know I should have thrown that in there too for the Puck guys. I mean, Jason and I are still covering.
Yeah.
Every week we got a show coming up here this week about the playoffs for round 2, and we'll go all the way through the finals. We'll also cover draft stuff. I mean, so you can look for content from both Eddie and I on our other shows as well. But this show, we definitely want to look at some content. If you guys are interested in that kind of content, let us know. We would love to hear some voices who listen to us regularly. And if you guys have any suggestions for us, hit us up on Twitter or Facebook or wherever, and let us know what you guys want to hear about, because Eddie and I are really looking at putting up content, going into the summer. We talked about doing a draft show, definitely looking at free agency. But if there's other things that we could look to put up for you guys, we'd love to do it. Looking at what Drew said also, I don't go on Ducks Nation much, just for the record, just because I end up getting trolled into some bad conversations there. And I end up getting angry at people for being idiots. So that's my take on that. But he says, are you okay with Ducks players getting married or having kids, even though it may negatively affect their play? Who the hell said that? I don't understand what the deal is with people